Hi, my name is Nick Russo, Senior Service Provider Solution Architect with Trend Micro, working closely with our service provider partners in their journey in Trend Vision One. As part of new features being introduced to Vision One for service providers, administrators can now create endpoint policy templates which can then be applied to downstream Trend Vision One tenants for end customers. In part 2 of this video, we'll continue by configuring the cyber risk and security operation features and management settings. Then we'll step through creating an endpoint policy template, applying endpoint policy templates to tenants, and assigning policies once a template has been created. Starting where we left off in part 1, we'll begin with the advanced risk telemetry setting in the policy we created previously. By enabling this option, we provide enhanced context for the cyber risk exposure management feature. We can identify potential security posture weaknesses and perform vulnerability assessments for threats like time-critical zero-day and end-day CVEs. If the CREM solution will be enabled in downstream Trend Vision One tenants, it's important to enable this option. Next, we have the endpoint sensor settings for the XDR capabilities of the sensor running in parallel with our endpoint security agent. By enabling this option, the sensor will collect telemetry and activity information from protected systems to detect and stop threats with deep endpoint visibility and real-time correlation. In addition to these capabilities, we can also enable the deepfake detector feature, which will analyze audio and video streams from calls to determine if they contain synthesized voices or images. With the data security sensor, we'll send activity data to trace and analyze the movement of sensitive data defined by data policies. Data security sensor monitors local assets and devices for sensitive data in the data inventory defined in an end customer's tenant. The data security sensor also traces the movement of sensitive data to create a data lineage graph viewable in observed attack techniques and Workbench. More information related to data security can be found in our online documentation and in an upcoming video, so stay tuned for that content. Moving on next to the identity security sensor, when enabled, the sensor can collect additional Active Directory telemetry, enhancing detection capabilities. It's recommended to only enable this setting on endpoints that are running Active Directory and requires enabling our integration with Active Directory via the Service Gateway Virtual Appliance. Previously, this capability was part of a separate connector application and is now part of the endpoint sensor. Last in the cyber risk and secops section is the sandbox submission feature. When enabled, this allows agents to automatically submit suspicious objects for analysis in a secure, isolated cloud sandbox environment, which can then be reviewed from the Vision One console. Next, we'll review additional management settings for exclusions, the browser extension, and customization for the agent interface. When creating exclusions, there are two types that can be created: rule exceptions and trusted programs. Rule exceptions are specific to different observed attack techniques, or OATs, that may occur in the environment. To find the rule ID of a particular OAT that should be excluded, we'll look at an existing event, and in the details of that event we can find the rule ID. When the browser extension is enabled in a policy, the feature will provide additional visibility that enhances monitoring capabilities for security features like web reputation, and can lend additional context to data that may be exfiltrated by users to outside cloud file storage solutions. In the agent interface settings, we can control the behavior and user controls in the interface of the security agent and sensor. If the agent interface should be disabled, specify this at the first setting. When the interface is enabled, we can allow the user to execute a manual anti-malware scan by enabling the first option here. And if an upcoming scheduled scan is going to run soon, a notification can be sent to the user along with options to allow them to postpone or skip the scan. For threat prevention, a notification can be sent to a user if anti-malware or web reputation detects a threat with a custom message. Under access control, a notification can be sent if application control, device control, or the firewall modules trigger a detection, with custom messages for each. And under cyber risk and security operations, a notification can be sent if the endpoint is isolated, if the agent detects deepfake content, or if an app process is terminated by the agent, also with custom messages for each notification. The final setting allows the user to shut down the agent if they're provided with an authorization token. This is only used in unique circumstances when security may need to be disabled on an endpoint. Now that we've configured all settings in the policy, we're ready to apply this policy to an endpoint policy template. I'll navigate to that menu item, then click Add Template. At the base priority, I'll define a policy, and this base priority will apply to all endpoints. We also have the option to add a priority to the template and can add up to 15 priorities. If an endpoint matches any of the priorities, the highest ranking priority and associated policy will be applied to the endpoint. Endpoints that don't match any priority use the base priority. Next, I'll click Save, then we'll navigate to Customer Management, then Customer Overview to apply our newly created template. From the list of customers, I'll find the Vision One tenant that my new policy template should be applied to, and click the button with 3 dots to the right of it. I'll choose Assign Template, Endpoint Policy Template, then on the next page, I'll select the endpoint groups where the policy will be applied. In this case, I'm applying a best practice policy that's applicable to all computers, and we can customize how this policy is applied later in the process. I'll click the Apply Endpoint Policy Templates button at the top of the page, then choose my template, and click the Assign button. If I now log into that end customer's Vision One tenant, then navigate to Endpoint Security and Endpoint Security Policies, I'll see on the Policies tab that the policy has been pushed down to the tenant. We append a unique identifier to the policy name to prevent overwriting existing policies, so if future changes are needed, the policy template can be updated and then reapplied to tenants. If you have any questions related to the content of this video and we can assist with the Endpoint Policy Templates capabilities, please let us know. Reach out to your account manager and we'll set up some time to work together. Thanks for watching this video, and we look forward to working with you on your journey in Trend Vision One.